Welcome back to the Daingeon, everybody. On today's episode, we're checking out a brand new projector from BenQ. This is the HT3560. Stick around.
Nice to be in orbit.
All right, everybody, thanks for joining me here on the Daingeon. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe below. Like I mentioned before, in today's episode, we're checking out the HT3560. This is a new lamp-based projector from BenQ. This is following up the successful budget projector, the HT3550 that BenQ announced several years ago. Obviously, they look very similar, but I'm going to show you all of the different features and different options that this projector offers compared to that 3550. So thanks for joining me here on the Daingeon today, and let's get going. Coming in at a price point of $16.99 from BenQ's website, this HT3560 has a ton of cool features that make it really special in BenQ's lineup. But first, let's unbox the thing. Obviously, BenQ provides great packaging with foam inserts and all the plastic bags you could use to keep this thing nice and safe. Inside, you'll find the BenQ HT3560 projector with that brushed metal front finish in sort of a bronze pewter color, power cable, your remote, some literature, and some batteries, but that's about it. Taking a look at the body of the projector, on the left-hand side, you'll find an intake fan, as well as on the right-hand side, 2 exit or exhaust fans to keep the projector cool. On the front, you have a lens cap with your 4K HDR lens on the right-hand side. And on the bottom, you have several mounting holes for different mounting options, along with some adjustable feet if you're setting it on a desktop. The projector looks very nice and very sleek. It has a compact design that allows you to put it in several different places. And then, of course, which I'll show later, that added lens shift feature really gives you some customization options when it comes to mounting this thing. Startup of the projector is fast and easy. It's a little bit slower than your standard LED or laser projectors that are coming out these days, but that's because it's lamp-based. So give it a few minutes, the bulb warms up, and the picture is nice and bright. This thing outputs 2200 ANSI lumens and has plenty of light for a great picture with some HDR content. Taking a look at the top of the projector, you'll notice that it has several buttons that you can use to adjust the image. First off, like many other BenQ projectors, you have your power button, your control toggle, a settings button, a back button, and a source button, along with a few different lights indicating power, temperature, and lamp. Up above that, you have a sliding door that gets access to the focus, the zoom, and the lens shift options that I'm showing you here. And just so you have a better understanding of how lens shift works, you can see here that the projector has an option to roll this wheel and lift the image up 10% or bring it down 10%. So depending on where you have it set in your room, you can actually adjust your picture so it fits on your screen better. Spinning around to the input side of the projector, you're going to see the 12-volt trigger, the RS-232 port, the service USB, which is a mini USB, the media reader can plug right in there, your audio out, your SPDIF for audio, HDMI 1, which is HDCP 2.2, HDMI 2, which is eARC, and HDCP 2.2, and a third additional HDMI 3 labeled HDCP 2.2 as well. And then to the right of that, of course, you have another service port with a 2.5 amp USB, and below that, your standard power plug. The next thing I want to do is take a look at just the picture quality and the menu system of the BenQ. First off, you have your ability to put up your different test patterns so you can get your image to fit exactly where you need it, but the basic menu is there and you can select from several different features. Now, I myself typically switch the menu into the advanced menu, so that's what I'm doing here. Now, the advanced menu gives you a good breakdown of your picture modes, your audio, your display, your installation, your system information, and then obviously the information that's being presented on the screen at the time. Starting with picture mode, you'll see that HDR10 is the option at the top right. You also have the ability to turn fast mode on or off. I'll get into that a little bit later when it comes to gaming, but out of the box, the picture is just fantastic. I left the brightness at 50, the contrast at 50, the color at 50, and the tint and sharpness where they came when it delivered. You can change different things like your wide color gamut, your cinema master, your dynamic iris, of course your light source mode, whether that's normal or eco, and then you also have the ability to go in and adjust your sound properties. Cinema mode sounded the best to me, but you have other options like music, as well as game, sports, and user. All right, in the display tab, you have your 3D option, which I love. I know people are looking for projectors that still do 3D. This one has it. It also has 24p cinema mode, so films that are shot in 24 frames a second, you can set that up and it matches it quite well. The other options you have are installation, which allows you to adjust the position of the projector. Now, I got an error here because I had it in game mode, so remember, you can't or don't want to adjust your keystone when you have game mode on because it affects the latency. And then finally, I'll mention the system settings that allows you to adjust the background, the menu. You can go back to that easy mode I was showing you before and then do your firmware upgrades. But below is your information setting, and this shows where you're getting your picture quality, what HDMI source you're on, and several other details of what is being projected out of this HT3560 onto your screen. And in saying that, the projector's picture quality is shown here is absolutely amazing. The black levels, as you can see, are quite awesome. They produce that perfect contrast across the board, and you can really get some great black level detail along with those bright HDR pops that you're probably looking for with most of this newer content. The HT3560 also has the ability to adjust the HDR brightness. As you can see here, I'm going through those different brightness levels. You really just have to pick and choose what one works best for your viewing setting, but I did find personally that the -1 or 0 was the perfect level of HDR brightness when I had all the lights off. Like other BenQ projectors, the BenQ HT3560 allows you to select your gamma selection. Out of the box, it comes with 2.2 as the normal setup. You also have the selection to go all the way up to 2.6. It has a BenQ setting, and you can go as low as 1.8. I found that 2.2 was the best in the Daingeon with the lights off. Dynamic iris is another cool feature that this projector offers. You can go through the low, medium, and high settings to adjust that dynamic iris contrast. Color tuning temperature also exists on this projector, allowing you to select between normal, cool, and warm. Going through these different color temperature settings, I did find that normal probably looked the best in most situations, but warm was good with some movies, and cool looked kind of fun with a lot of your different games. The color temperature setting allows you to also adjust your RGB gains in different levels. You have your color enhancer under the Cinema Master option. That color enhancer brightens or darkens the picture and really makes those different colors pop. You have your flesh tone adjustment, which allows you to look at the human skin flesh tone and adjust your picture to that. And then also you have your 4K pixel enhancement. That option was pretty cool when it comes to your 4K image. If you feel like the picture itself, maybe on some regular TV, needs a little bit more sharpness, that pixel enhancer really helps define the picture. Obviously, you have your motion enhancement as well, the MEMC options. If you have different frame rates and things like that, you can use that to add that soap opera effect. As with all of my projector testings, I make sure that I film the projector when it's in a full light situation for those that have very little light control in their media center. This image here is with all of the lights on at 100% in the Daingeon. Of course, the picture is very washed out and hard to see, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend watching any content with this projector when the lights are on. Setting your lights to about a 50% or some ambient light in the background though, however, the picture does pop much better. You can make out a lot more of the color detail, the black levels, and it's very acceptable to have a few lights on with this projector and still get some very good image quality and enjoy your surroundings at the same time. But obviously, this is a movie projector, so if you can turn the lights off to 100%, of course, you'll get the best image quality that this projector has to offer. The black levels show the HDR pops, the color level is very, very nice, and honestly, I wouldn't recommend it any other way than to have that full movie experience with the lights off. Most of the image quality that came out of this projector was done using some 4K image with HDR or HDR10 plus content, and you can tell here that that color is just fantastic. You get all of your different dynamic tones, your different nature scenes allow for greens and blues and reds to come out and look amazing on a normal projector screen with all of the lights off. The HT3560 looks great with some animated movie content. I have a trailer here playing with some Pixar animation. It looks really well. Everything is very detailed. The 4K comes out really well. The colors pop as you might expect. And then of course with those movies that have that enhanced color, such as the Barbie movie, I put the trailer in here just to show the different color levels that this thing can really achieve. It's super nice to see that BenQ has put so much attention to detail with the bright colors and this HDR Pro color feature that offers HDR10, HLG, HDR10 Plus support, and it really helps with that color enhancement for HDR for most content on newer movies. All right, now let's take a look at some gaming with the HT3560. In this particular segment, we're playing Gran Turismo 7 using the PlayStation 5, and we have it set to game mode on, or fast mode, I should say. We're getting a 1080p 120 Hz signal with HDR10. The picture looks fantastic. The latency is much lower than your standard projector at 4K 60. Although you lose a little bit of resolution, it's not very noticeable, and I still found that the game was very competitive to play with such a low latency option. In my next example here, I want to show you some Dead Space on PS5. This game was remastered in 4K 60 and it looks fantastic. The black levels are really, really nice. As you know, the game is a very dark atmosphere as it is, but the picture quality is true. The details come out really nice with this projector, and the 4K 60 still has just enough latency where you can play this game no problem and have a really good time. As I mentioned before, the BenQ HT3560 also offers a few different light source modes. So in this clip of Gran Turismo 7, I wanted to show you the difference that I got when the room was completely dark between eco mode and normal mode. Obviously, the brightness changes quite a bit, so it really just depends on your atmosphere and if you need this to be brighter or not, depending on the game. It does increase the fan noise a little bit when it's on normal, but I wouldn't say that it's enough to distract from the game, especially if you're playing with the sound on. With that being said, the BenQ also has two built-in 5-watt chamber speakers powered by Trevolo. That's their typical sound system that they have in most of their projectors, and it sounds really good. Of course, this also has eARC capabilities, so if you want to run it back through a sound system, just use that HDMI 2 port and you can play it through a sound bar or some type of receiver. So that pretty much does it for the review of the HT3560, but I'm sure many of you are asking, how does it compare to the HT3550, the older model? Well, I'm going to go through a few of the key differences that I've noticed between both of those projectors, but just to start it off, I'll let you know that obviously they still make the HT3550. The price is around $1,199 compared to the $1,699 of the new one. But for that reason, there are a few good features that they did add to the HT3560 that I think you guys should take note of, and then make that decision on your own if you want to buy something a little bit older at a cheaper price or something new that has a few more features. So let's get going on that. Looking at them side by side, I honestly can't tell a difference, especially when you look at them from the front, right? But where the differences do come in are on the inputs in the back, as well as the spec sheet. And what BenQ has offered on their website is the ability to compare some products. So it's really neat. You can go to their website, select the projectors that you're interested in, click compare, and you can look at their details side by side. So for instance, the 3550 compared to the 3560, the 3550 has 2,000 ANSI lumens. The 3560 has 2,200 lumens. The contrast ratio on the 3550 is 30,000 to 1, and the contrast ratio on the 3560 is 50,000 to 1. As you scroll down this list, you'll see a bunch of different options, such as 2D keystoning on the new version. You also have a few different picture modes, the ability to turn on fast mode, which changes the input lag. And like I showed you in the video of Gran Turismo, the input lag is only 17.9 milliseconds with the 1080p 120 hertz option. So that's awesome. It brings that latency down quite a bit. The input lag on the HT3550, which I've actually gamed on before, I thought was definitely usable, and I had no issues playing even first-person shooters on, is all the way up at 34 milliseconds, so almost double. So this is a really big improvement in my opinion as well. Obviously, the other options that you have, you get that third HDMI input. You get eARC, which is awesome if you want to run Dolby Atmos back through your sound system. You get a few other features in regards to the SPDIF port with multi-channel and RAW, not just PCM and 2-channel. And then as you go down this list, you'll see that there are a few other things that kind of make the differences a little bit worthwhile. Really, it's going to come down to what do you choose to do the most. I'd say if you are a gamer but you do watch a lot of movies, definitely go with the 3560. If you are just a movie watcher and you have very light controlled environment, stick with the 3550. It's still a good option. Here's some footage of both of those projectors and some gaming side by side. Maybe you can tell the difference more than I can, but aside from just a little bit added brightness in normal mode on the HT3560, the 3550 has really good color and some excellent settings that make it very comparable. The only other thing that I do stress with the 3550 compared to the 3560 is if you do some vertical keystoning, you also have the option to do horizontal and vertical with the new 3560. So it kind of limits your options if your room is placed in a situation where you have to use keystoning, but like I said, try to avoid keystoning if at all possible anyway. So anyway, that's the review and the comparison of the HT3560 and a little bit of a comparison to the older model, the 3550. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me here on the Daingeon today. I hope you hit that like and subscribe below and stay tuned for more footage in the future. If you guys like this video, let me know what you thought in the comments section below. If you dislike it, let me know that also. Anyway, thanks for tuning in to the Daingeon today, and I'll talk to you guys next time.